15 Minecraft farms that you maybe didn't know existed. Renewable farms are a staple of survival gameplay, but some of them are so bizarre that you'd have to be crazy to build them. But today, we're giving those oddball options a time in the spotlight. And hey, according to the YouTube farm hands, it's impossible to subscribe to the channel before this melon grows. So, to show them up, quickly water that subscribe soil down below. It's free, and it helps out a ton. Number 1. Whenever you play Minecraft with friends, there's always that one person who has way too many dogs tamed. I mean, 1 or 2 is fine, but at this point it's starting to border on a problem. So in that case, I definitely wouldn't show them the kind of farms that we got cooking up here. Because thanks to the insane technical communities of Minecraft, we actually have a possible wild wolf farm in the game. And believe me folks, while this might sound simple, this is actually a huge undertaking to do. And really, unless you've tamed every single wolf in your entire zip code, there's not much of a reason to build one of these things. But when you see the kind of showcases that SciCraft and ProtoSky show off, it really is impressive how many wolves you can get to spawn with one of these things. Only downside is it's going to be a lot tougher to pick out man's best friend when you got thousands of these coming through the machine. Number 2. Anyone who's ever played Skyblock knows that getting more dirt is not an easy task. I mean, for many versions of Minecraft, it was impossible. It was a non-renewable item. But thanks to the help of piglin bartering, we can now get infinite gravel that we can combine with our dirt to make coarse dirt farms. And folks, when you put those 2 ingredients together and till the soil, then all of a sudden you've got infinite dirt your way. It's not a fast process, but it definitely is a way to get more dirt. So whether you're in a desert biome, a Skyblock island, or what have you, this is definitely a way to get plenty of dirt to fill up your chests. And hey, while the design that we have here is only semi-automatic, if you wanted to hook it up with something like a TNT blast chamber or wither chamber for further automation, you could totally do that. Only downside is the crafting step is still going to be on you. Number 3. As many players know, there's plenty of other better ways to get emeralds than just mining around in a mountain biome. And while most of the time we would use villagers and raids for this sort of thing, that's not the only option. Because, as it turns out, we actually can get quite a bit of help from our fox and friends. You see, for some reason, foxes have a 5% chance of spawning with an emerald. And while I personally haven't seen a large-scale farm built for this, I imagine that it will work some way similar to a wolf farm. Heck, you can even sort of see that in the way that RaiseWorks built one for the ProtoSky series. I mean, don't get it twisted, it's not a fast method, and I'd much rather use trading for my emeralds. But if for whatever reason you want to switch from human labor to an animal workforce, this is your only option. Number 4. If you don't like waiting around, then getting bone meal is a huge help for your farms. If you're willing to roll the dice, then you can actually get a fully operational bone meal farm from fish drops. As it turns out, salmon, cod, tropical fish, and pufferfish all have a 5% chance of dropping bone meal on death, which is not a high yield by any means, and it's definitely not going to be performing at the levels of some of the other farms we can build for bone meal. But if you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get a fish farm and a bone meal farm up and running, this is a way to do it. But I gotta say, when your farm 95% of the time doesn't provide bone meal, but instead the fishes, it's not a bone meal farm. It's a fish farm with a bone meal add-on. But for what it's worth, it's still bone meal. Number 5. Have you ever woken up, looked yourself in the mirror and said, I know what I need today? Loads of ferns. No, you haven't. No one has, no one ever will. But in the off chance that someone ever in the entire history of humanity needs a fern farm, it is possible. To make this infinite source, all you gotta do is bone meal regular ferns, make them 2 blocks tall, and then shear them. Boom, you got more ferns. You can even do this with 2 tall grass if you want to. You can get so many of these resources just by bone mealing grass blocks anyway that I don't see any reason for it. Unless, of course, you're going for 100% completion in the all farms checklist, which in that case, by all means. Number 6. If you want to have an overabundance of leads, then it is totally possible to make it out of infinite string and slimeball farms. But when you do that, you run into the pesky problem of crafting. So if you're not looking to lay out all those ingredients in a crafting grid, then this can save you a step. The concept of this is fairly simple. We build a large spawning platform for wanting villagers to come into play, then we put a bell in the middle that they make their way towards. And as soon as they're there, you kill them off and their llamas, and then you're able to get free leads for you. Granted, this process does make you into somewhat of a genocidal maniac, but if you really want to save the time on crafting, then it's the price you gotta pay. And as long as the authorities don't know, then we'll just keep it our little secret. Number 7. Everyone loves receiving gifts, so if you're looking to recreate that feeling of Christmas morning 1,000 times over, then you can actually do that by building a fully functional cat gift farm. The way this works is that every time that the player sleeps, the cats will bring gifts to them, whether that's a rabbit's foot, a rabbit hide, string, rotten flesh, feather, raw chicken, phantom membrane, all of these different items. And while I'm not sure how useful most of these are, I'm also not one to deny a present. So if you're looking to just sleep around all day and leave the foraging to your feline friend, this is definitely the way to make it happen. One key thing to know about this farm though is that you do have to own the cat for it to work. But if you make sure that they're your own pet and you leave them standing instead of sitting while you sleep, then sure enough, they are going to give you all the gifts that you need. If what you need is a bunch of junk. Number 8. Melon farms are nothing new to Minecraft, and there's plenty of different designs out there that exist to get you all the kind of melon slices that you need. But that's the thing, they get you melon slices. What if instead you wanted the full melon block instead of having to craft them? Well, if it's really that much of a big deal to you, then you can actually make a melon block farm using endermans. Sure enough, by taking a melon farm and an enderman farm and putting the two together, you can actually have the enderman pick up the block and then kill them to get the drop. I guess it might be more of a proper melon farm, but the problem is that as soon as you want melon slices, you just gotta break the melon blocks anyway. So at that point, building one of these over a traditional melon slice farm seems kinda silly. And that might be why we don't see a lot of these pop up in different servers. Number 9. You ever need bowls? I don't either, but if you want a bowl farm, then you can actually make them by using turtles. Unfortunately, the process is kind of gruesome, so if you don't want to see turtles getting massacred, you might want to leave this out of your world. The way that this works is that the turtle mob, when struck by lightning, will drop a bolt. It's completely impractical, but it's more so a possible in theory kind of thing. I suppose for any sick evil genius who wants to turn this into more of a reality, the lightning rods in 1.17 will help out with that. But really, I never thought it was that much of a problem to put 3 planks in a crafting grid. And to be completely honest, I'm more comfortable drinking my mushroom stew out of one of these bowls than anything that has to do with a turtle's insides. Number 10. While most people are worried about what the best jump height or speed they can get on their horse is like, if you're playing up to version 1.12, then the real question you gotta ask yourself is whether or not you want your horse with meat or without. You see, if we build this gigantic platform just like this, then we can actually have it where we harvest skeleton horses during a lightning storm. Which means that sure enough, when you come back from being AFK, you can see a lot more skeletal steeds than you thought there were. That being said, this specific farm is only possible up to 1.12, largely because it focuses on RNG manipulation instead of natural summoning. But you could build one in more recent versions if you just built a large funnel that would bring the skeletal steeds during regular lightning storms towards you. Number 11. If for some reason you're a huge fan of lingering potions, but you don't want to do all the dirty work yourself, then it is actually possible to get a fully functional dragon breath farm. By setting it up like this so that the bottles get collected automatically, you're gonna have more of the stuff than you know what to do with pretty fast. And since you can only get the achievement once, I don't really know why you need a lot of dragon breath. And to be completely honest, while I was researching this, I found a treat that's actually called dragon breath that looks so much nicer than what we're getting here in Minecraft. And now I'm just kind of disappointed that we can't get actual dragon breath in the game. But who knows, maybe in the liquid nitrogen update. Number 12. Folks, bee farms are a thing of the past. If you really want good quality bees, you gotta go right to the source. And that's why, for our purposes, we got ourselves a bee nest farm. These can be attained whenever you grow a tree right next to flowers. And as you can see with this birch tree, after placing enough saplings, we are going to be able to get ourselves a premium hive. And if you don't get one, then just break the bottom 2 logs and plant another sapling. Why you would go through all this effort for a couple of bee nests, I can't say. But hey, I'm not going to be able to change your hive mind, I get it. Number 13. Dead coral fans can be surprisingly useful in Minecraft. And of course, all of that stems back to the TNT duplication systems. So if you're looking to get a lot of these before you set up some form of tunnel bore or the like, then you can actually fill out your needs by building a dead coral farm. The way that this works is that we bone meal it, grow coral, and then dry it out before harvesting. But the key thing to keep in mind is that this will only work in warm ocean biomes. Otherwise, the bone meal doesn't create anything. But as it goes, if you got yourself bone meal, a silk touch pick, and plenty of time to kill, then this is definitely the way to make you the #1 supplier of dead coral. Congratulations, it sounds like a huge accomplishment. Number 14. Snow farms might be one of the easiest ones to build in the game. After all, you just place a snow golem up here, hold down the left click with a shovel, and all of a sudden you got all the snowballs you ever need. But those take up a lot of space, and unless you're getting into a lot of snowball fights, you really want to use them as snow blocks. In that case, we can cut out the middleman and just go right to a snow block farm. By using a system like this, we can stack up different snow layers until eventually we create a full block, which at that point you break it intact and we're able to get a full snow block farm. And honestly, even though it isn't nearly as satisfying as all the different items you get in a regular snowball farm, in this case it is pretty nice to just be able to get right to the source. And honestly, if any of the weird farms, this is probably the one I'm most likely to use. Number 15. Soul Soil is a pretty nifty block to have around. So if you're really trying to collect the blocks for Soul Speed Speedway, here's how you can go about it. You see, after getting Soul Soil from Piglin bartering, you can then craft that into a soul soil campfire and then break it, which in turn drops more soul soil. Repeat that process enough until you get sick of the word soul soil, and sure enough, you'll have plenty of the stuff going around. There is one key problem here. You're getting the soul soil through piglin bartering, which is itself renewable. If you wanted soul soil that bad, you could just do a bartering farm. It's way more robust than anything you get here. And plus, who wants to craft that many campfires and break them? While this extra step might have a better yield, it's definitely not worth the hassle. Just stick to the piglins themselves. And with that, folks, farm that subscribe button below and have a good one. All right?